Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week of the comment section. For those that don't know who I am, my name is James. I am the founder of Rupert, your 24/7 social media assistant. And today we're going to be discussing how protecting your brand from trolls and spams can really affect your results, and how you can use tools to filter out spam and abusive comments automatically. So every week we start with a stat, and this stat is 40% more spent with a business that chat and responds to customers on social media. If you are in the e-commerce world, this is a stat I wish you knew, and if you didn't, here it is, digest it and really consider it. What does it do to your bottom line if every or 20% of your customers spent 40% more because you interacted with them on social media? I think all of us would say it's going to really impact our bottom line. A good example of this is I had a demo call with a Sam McKnight, a hair brand, earlier this week, and they'd missed a comment in January of someone that bought their product's not cheap, and it was someone just giving them feedback on it hadn't done exactly what they were expecting. They potentially lost that customer because they've engaged with customers on social media and they've left them neglected. Now, they were gutted because they're a very customer-focused brand, so they're going to jump back on that. Now, the reality is they're probably going to fix her issue, and then she'll come back and buy more over the next few months, which means that she spent even more, so they've extracted more value from that customer. They wouldn't have if they missed that comment. They'd have had a bad experience and would have tried to find a competitor or something else to fulfill their needs. So again, if this isn't a stat you now know it, and you've got absolutely no excuses if you're in the e-commerce world not to consider that. This is a example of a few trolls. Obviously, this week is all about trolls and spam comments, and you'll see this is a paid ad that I found on Instagram, a Liven Up app. I've been actually served this quite a bit, so they're spending clearly quite a bit on paid ads. They've got a lot of ads running, different ads. And what I noticed on there is that they had a lot of comments and answered. Actually, all of their comments were unanswered. But again, when you look at these 3 comments, very trolly type comments, my question would be to all of you listening, is that impacting their results? Potentially. The stats say it is. The stats say that actually, yes, these type of comments are absolutely impacting their results and what they're trying to achieve with social media. What's frustrating is the brand has left them there to fester and not responded to any of these whatsoever. Even the guy, Matt, who's actually referred someone in to this app. And again, really poor there. So again, that's an example of how not to do it. So protecting your brand from trolls and spam. I always put these in 3 categories, and it's just a lot easier for you guys to sort of go away, ponder. But also what I will go into in a second is actually 3 tips that you can take away in action today without using any resource whatsoever. So in terms of reputation management, trolls and spam content can harm your credibility. And what it can actually do is deter potential customers from becoming exactly that, which is a customer. We seem to forget that, your social media presence is often the first impression people get of your brand now, because we're so fixated on our phones. I would go through the stats in terms of how long people spend on their phones a day, but we all know it's a vast amount of time. What we don't want to do is we don't want those trolls to define what the narrative is about your brand. So just be really conscious in terms of that reputation management. Customer experience. Now, spam and abusive comments can actually derail meaningful engagement and meaningful conversations. What it can then do is frustrate your loyal audience, your community, your potential customers that are trying to answer questions, because they're just being lost in a spam just mire. Your audience wants value. They want engagement. What they don't want is you to be distracted with these trolls and these spam type comments. Not so much a clutter-free, but a troll-free space really builds trusts. And actually what it does do is it keeps that audience and those customers engaged with your brand, which is exactly what we want to do on social media. I say this a lot, but it's the number 1 rule when it comes to playing the game on social media as brands, which is the number 1 rule is to keep the user engaged on the platform. If you keep the user engaged, The platform will give you free reach from an organic perspective. It will give you cheaper CPMs from a paid perspective, which is obviously ultimately going to give us a cheaper cost per acquisition, which is what all of us want. In terms of the third one here, which is efficiency and focus, dealing with trolls manually wastes time. The amount of time that brands and social media managers waste with trying to block comments or hide comments, it's madness. Automation tools and automation can free up your focus on the more valuable stuff that you should be doing, you can be doing, which is extracting more value from these good customers, these good engagements, which is ultimately going to lead in lead generation or conversion if it's e-commerce. The right tools can let you focus on real customers, not the troll noise that we all see. So again, really simple to think about there. If my thing is clicking. There you go. Here's another example actually of a brand that, again, it's come across my Instagram feed, and a brand that's not responding to comments. Really annoying. And this one is EasyJet Holidays. Obviously, look, EasyJet are huge. We all know them. They had a lot of comments, and again, some of these are good though. But again, you've got 3 comments there. I quite like the first one actually. Your service makes Ryanair look good. I love Ryanair's content on social media. It's fantastic. So again, Sandy sort of playing on the narrative on that. But again, EasyJet spending a lot of money on their paid media. EasyJet paying a lot of money on their paid media, and they're letting these comments just sit there completely neglected. No one's responding to any of them. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's really, really bad. Now, obviously, EasyJet in a lovely position that they've probably got a lot of budget over the year, and it won't make a huge difference to them if they do or they don't. But some of the smaller brands that don't have their budgets, they need to really look at this piece of real estate on social and understand how can we extract more value from it. These guys aren't doing that, and I think it's really, really poor, because a brand of EasyJet's ilk, they'll have the resource to deal with this, and they're not. But again, look at the trolls on these. It's really, really poor. So how can we deal with this? What can we do, and what are the top tips for us to move forward, and actually, what can we action after this quick 10-12 minutes? So the first one is leveraging keywords. Now, a lot of you may or may not know, but in the back end of most platforms now, you can select certain keywords that you want to flag as spam. So, the typical ones would be things like a lot of swear words, offensive language. Makes total sense. But what you can't do is there's no context to it. You can just put the words in themselves, which obviously isn't great, because there's so many swear words in the UK. There's so many in the US. There's different iterations of ways to spell it. It's crazy to think of how many there are. So you can do it. It's not foolproof. It's not brilliant. I don't think it's very good, which is one of the reasons why we built Rupert. It's because a lot of the time there's no context behind it. And obviously people are very clever now. And you see one of the comments we've just gone through there in terms of the first one, which is bull poo. The way they've spelled it, that wouldn't have been picked up. So again, I don't think it's great for brands. I think there's things like Rupert out there that can help you navigate that. But like I said, there are keyword filters that are available on all platforms. But just be conscious that it's not going to solve the problem entirely. It's going to fix some of the problems that you may have. The second one is using AI. So what you can do, again, all of these tips are free and you can implement yourself. So what you could do is, if you don't want to use a tool, you could load the post into ChatGPT. You could then put the comment. You could ask ChatGPT then to sentiment score it. You could then make a call on terms of if it's positive or negative, and then you could actually ask ChatGPT to give a response on your tone, as long as you fed in your branded tone, your tone and voice documents in there. So again, that is something you can do. Obviously, it's very, very long-winded per comment. Again, I'm not here to pitch Rupert, but it's one of the reasons why I built Rupert, because I know how long it takes in terms of resource to respond to comments. But again, that is something you can do. If you get a low level volume of comments, that could be something that you leverage and actually implement. The third one is create a community engagement policy. Now, this one is really for those that have Facebook groups. I'm part of a few, and even I've been not kicked off, but some of my posts haven't gone through because I've asked certain questions about certain running races and it's against their policies. wasn't promoting another product. I was just asking a genuine question. The good thing with policies, especially when you're looking at Facebook groups, is that you then are maintaining what the narrative is, and you're making sure that your guidelines are being adhered to, and actually that all the content is respectful. Again, this is more for those that have Facebook groups. But if you do and you don't have a policy, my recommendation would be just you'd have all seen them, or go into other groups and maybe copy what they're doing. They're all much of a muchness, really. But again, if you don't have that, it's something I would really consider doing. So again, they're the 3 tips that you can take away and literally implement as of literally after this call. In terms of another brand, an ad that came across my feed, which was Oliver and Pearl, e-commerce. They're trying to get conversions. They're trying to get people to buy their necklace. I actually think it looks like a good ad. It looks like a good product. Again, you've got Mark there moaning, or not moaning, but making a derogative comment towards the brand. No one's responded to it. You've got Liz below, I love mine. Again, you've got a troll comment, and then right under it, a really good one. But then also under that, you've got Mark saying, my link doesn't work when clicking on it. You've lost a conversion there, and that was 6 weeks ago. This is really, really bad. These comments are neglected. There's money being left on the table with this brand, which is, again, in my opinion, absolute madness. But again, there's 3 examples today of brands that unfortunately are missing the mark when it comes to the comment section, and I wish they would all try and respond to as many as they can. So that is another week of the comment section. Again, I always try to keep these between 10 and 15 minutes long, just quick, easy to digest content for you to listen to. I'm going to open up the floor now to any questions. We've got a couple of minutes. So if you haven't got any questions, please type away. I can't see how many of you are on here, so there may be none, there may be one, who knows. But if you are in here, please ask a question and I will respond. If you want to respond or ask a question after here, please send me a message on LinkedIn and I can respond to you one-to-one. In terms of our next session, will be next week at 11 a.m. They're every Wednesday. The only reason we didn't do last week was I was actually away at a pitch down at Brewdog's Waterloo, pitching to James Watt, which is why I was offline last Wednesday. But next week we're discussing leveraging social proof, the role of comments in building trust. Why showcasing positive if I could talk, why showcasing positive interactions drive customer confidence and sales. So yeah, if that's something you would like to jump onto, again, that'll be next week at 11. So we have got a question from Luke. What about fake ads? So in terms of fake ads, I'm assuming you mean this in terms of, how can you tell a fake ad with regards to their comment section? So sorry, Luke, you've just said on there, how can you tell with fake ads with regards to their comment section? So Luke, I'm assuming are you asking in terms of brands that are promoting themselves under other brands? A good example of this would be Axel Arigato, the footwear brand. They have some really good ads. They're really, really active at the moment on paid social. And if you look under all their ads, you'll see other brands, and it's clear really bad spam from overseas that are basically putting fake ads in there, which is trying to get them to buy sort of fake Axel Arigato. Hopefully that's the answer in terms of, if that is the question. Something like, again, I don't want to sit here and promote Rupert whatsoever today, but that's something that Rupert will pick up on and hide and quarantine in real time. If not, it's something that obviously you as a marketing manager or a social media manager or brand manager would have to just keep on top of. But there's no way of, again, if you're using, for example, the in-app filtering bits at the moment. Actually, you've just come back. I see ads that are from fake brands. Okay, well, okay, so that's a little bit different. So if you're talking about brands that are, let's say, a fake Nike, well, there's no way of getting around that from a obviously we're talking about comments here, which is obviously very, very different. In terms of fake ads, if they've got a business manager and they're able to promote ads via Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, I see a lot of them actually. I see a lot of Alibaba ads that are promoting fake AirPod Pros, which look really, really bad. But if the platforms allow them to do it, they do it. In truth, we know obviously they're fake, but they've created a product and they're selling it on social media. So I totally agree with what you're saying and what you're asking. But in terms of obviously comments, yeah, it's one of those. They're a brand and they're promoting their products. So can't answer too much on that one because it's more of a meta issue or a TikTok issue that's promoting those brands, opposed to obviously what we're discussing, say, in terms of the comment section. So no, thank you, Luke, as always, for commenting. Thank everyone else for listening, and hopefully see you next week. If you don't have any further questions, please reach out on my LinkedIn. Speak soon. Take care.